All right, everybody, welcome to another deep dive.
Yeah, welcome back.
This time, we are going on a deep dive into the world of photo booth printers.
Ooh.
We're diving head first into some Reddit threads all about this.
Oh, fun.
And when I say Reddit threads, I mean like multiple subreddits worth of opinions.
Okay.
So like we've got wedding photography, we've got DIY weddings, and of course our photo booth.
Yeah.
So we're getting like all angles of this.
I love it.
And the reason why I wanted to do this deep dive is because, honestly, like nothing beats crowdsourced wisdom when it comes to making a purchase, especially something like a photo booth printer.
Oh, yeah, especially something so specific, right? Like
Yeah.
you go to the internet for that.
Absolutely.
What do people actually use? What do they like? What are they actually recommending? Not just what are the ads showing me.
Yeah, and it's so funny that you should say that because
Yeah.
the first thing that I noticed going through all this is that, like, the Canon Selphy was mentioned like every other comment.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like the entry point basically for photo booth printers.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like if you were going to go buy one without doing any research, you might end up with a Canon Selphy
Absolutely.
just because it's so ubiquitous.
Yeah, it's like the most visible one.
Yeah.
But, and maybe this is a good thing, maybe it's not. What do the Redditors have to say about the Canon Selphy?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because while it is like the cheapest option,
Right?
and very accessible, one of the things that people highlight immediately is that it is slow, like painfully slow, if you're trying to use it in like a high volume situation.
Like at a wedding.
Wait.
Like a wedding. Yeah, exactly. Or like a big party where people are waiting in line to use the photo booth.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, one person even said it's like watching paint dry
Oh, my God.
after you've done like 100 prints or something.
Okay, so I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah,
If you were having like a small gathering,
right.
maybe a Canon Selphy would be fine.
Yeah.
But anything larger than that,
Yeah. I would
Wait.
say maybe not.
you're going to run into some
And
problems.
they have some issues, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the paper capacity is really low, and like you said, the printing speed is just not really there for anything.
Yeah, and refilling the paper.
Yeah, nobody wants to be messing around with that at a party.
No, absolutely not.
Like, you don't want to be the one in charge of the photo booth and having to, like, stop everything and refill the paper and, like...
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Yeah, nobody wants to do that.
No. Okay, so moving on.
Yeah.
From the very slow Canon Selphy,
Yeah.
what is like the next step up?
Well, a lot of people were talking about dye-sublimation printers.
Dye-sublimation.
Yeah, so it sounds very, like, technical.
It does sound very technical.
And science-y.
Yes.
But it's actually really cool.
Okay.
So basically...
break it down for us.
Yeah. So basically imagine like these tiny dye particles being like vaporized
Okay.
and then like instantly transferred onto the photo paper.
So it's like instant dry, essentially.
Exactly.
That-
So they're dry like as soon as they come out of the printer, and they're also smudge-proof,
Oh, that's amazing.
which is like huge for a photo booth.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense than what I was picturing in my head.
Right.
Yeah, like you don't want to have to worry about people like smudging their photos or anything like that.
Yeah, that's actually very important.
Yeah, and the other cool thing about dye sublimation is that the prints last a really long time.
Okay.
So you're talking like years of vibrant colors without any fading.
Oh, wow.
Unlike some inkjet prints that can like deteriorate kind of
So
quickly.
inkjet is not the move.
For photo booths, no.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
Not ideal.
Dye sublimation is where it's at.
Okay, so we know that dye sublimation is like the gold standard.
Right.
But I did see one Redditor ask like a very interesting question.
Okay, what's that?
In our digital age, why are we even bothering with on-site printing?
That's a good question.
Like, why not just share everything instantly online?
Right. Why even bother with the physical print?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, we're all about instant gratification anyway.
Yeah, and like saving trees
Yeah.
and all that.
Exactly.
But there is something to be said about having like a physical photograph.
Yeah.
Like something tangible that you can hold in your hand.
It's like that feeling of like going through an old photo album
Totally.
versus just scrolling through your camera roll.
Yeah, exactly.
There's like a magic to it.
Totally. It's like a keepsake.
Yeah.
You can like put it on your fridge
Right.
or
right.
like give it to somebody.
Absolutely.
Like it's something that you can actually hold on to.
And I think it's important to note, like, not every photo needs to be blasted all over social media.
Yeah, true.
Sometimes you just want it for yourself,
For sure. Yeah,
to remember the moment.
exactly.
So, okay, I see both sides. But let's say that we land on the side of we do, in fact, want to print,
Okay.
on-site printing.
Yeah.
What kind of printer are we looking at?
Well, everyone's talking about DNP printers.
DNP.
DNP, yeah.
Keep seeing that.
Yeah, they're like the big.
Are they like the Toyota of
Yes,
printers?
someone said that, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like the Toyota photo booth printers.
So they're like reliable.
Reliable, affordable. They have good customer support.
Okay.
They're just like the workhorse of the industry.
They just get the job done.
They just get the job done.
All right.
And they're everywhere. Like, you can find them.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, you can find them used.
Okay.
You can find them new.
So you can get a good deal.
You can get a good deal.
Okay.
So yeah, they're a good option to look into. Yes.
Okay, so DNP is a good place to start.
Definitely.
Okay. And Mitsubishi, as I mentioned a few times.
Oh yeah, Mitsubishi's interesting.
Okay.
Because they kind of like left the market.
Really?
Yeah, they've shifted focus.
Interesting.
But their older models are still really good.
Okay.
And some people even say they're better than the DNP printers.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's kind of like this debate,
Yeah.
like DNP versus Mitsubishi.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's this one Mitsubishi model in particular,
Okay.
the DS40.
The DS40.
And
It's discontinued?
Of course it is.
Of course it is, right.
Yeah.
But people are like, if you can find one,
Okay.
buy it.
Okay. It's like a collector's item.
It's like a unicorn. It's like a unicorn printer.
I love okay, so the Mitsubishi DS40 unicorn printer.
Yeah. Love it.
But yeah, DNP is definitely like the most popular option.
Okay.
Like the most common one that you'll see.
It was widely available.
Exactly.
Okay, so if you want something that's like easy to find,
Yeah.
DNP.
Yeah, DNP is a good bet.
If you want to go on a wild goose chase for a unicorn,
Yeah, if you're feeling adventurous.
Mitsubishi DS40.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, so
Yeah.
DNP, we've got the RX1, which is a popular choice.
Yeah, the RX1 is like a good all-around printer.
Okay.
It's like their kind of mid-range model.
Okay.
But it's still really good.
Okay.
Like it's
Solid.
solid. It gets the job done.
The Camry of printers.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Camry photo booth printer.
That's right.
And then they have the 620A.
The 620A.
Yeah, that's like their top of the line model.
That's like the Lexus?
That's like the Lexus. Yeah, okay. It's like the fancy one.
Okay, got it.
Um,
So RX1, your workhorse.
yeah.
620A.
Yeah, fancy pants.
Fancy pants.
High end.
High end. Okay.
Yeah, model.
So how do you choose between those two?
That's a good question.
Like, what are the deciding factors? So how do you choose between the RX1 and the 620A? Like, what are the deciding factors?
Well, I think it really depends on like how much you're going to be using it. Like,
Okay.
what's the volume of prints that you're expecting?
Okay.
So the RX1 is great for like mid-volume stuff.
Okay.
Like if you're doing like a birthday party
Mm.
or a smaller wedding, like something where you're not printing constantly.
Gotcha.
But if you're doing like high volume
Mhm.
stuff, like if you're a professional photographer
Yeah.
and you're doing this like every weekend.
Then you're going to want the 620A.
Okay, so it's more of a workhorse.
Exactly. It can handle it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like the difference between like a Honda Civic and a Ford F-150.
Okay.
Like they both get you from point A to point B,
Right.
but one is just built for more heavy-duty use.
No, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's really just about like how much you're going to use it,
Exactly.
and then obviously the price difference.
Right. Of course.
Because the 620A is going to be more expensive.
Yeah. It's like significantly more expensive.
But you get what you pay for.
Yeah. You get what you pay for.
Okay. So that's something to keep in mind.
Definitely.
Okay.
And then another thing to think about is like the cost of ink and paper,
Oh,
because that can add up over time.
especially if you're using it a lot.
Exactly. So
Uh-huh.
like if you're doing high volume printing,
Yeah.
that's something to factor in.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so those are all really good things to think about.
Yeah.
But I think we kind of glossed over something really important.
Oh, what's that?
Software.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we've been talking about printers this whole time.
Right.
But what about the software that you use to actually run the photo booth?
That's a good point.
Like, that's a whole other can of worms
It is.
that we need to open.
You do.
Because you could have the best printer in the world,
Right.
but if you have crappy software,
Yeah, it's not going to matter.
it's not going to matter.
Their photos are going to suck. So
Exactly.
you're not going to be able to do all the fun stuff.
Yeah, like the overlays and the effects and all that.
Yeah,
That's what
everything.
makes it fun.
Exactly.
So we need to talk about software.
We do. What kind of software is out there?
Well, there's a lot of different options.
Okay.
But some popular ones are like Darkroom Booth, DSLR Booth, and Spark Booth.
Spark Booth. I like that one.
Yeah, it's a catchy name.
It is catchy.
But yeah, they all have like different features and different price points.
Okay.
So it's worth doing some research
Yeah.
and figuring out which one is right for you.
So we need to do a whole other deep dive
We might need to do part 2 on this.
on photo booth software.
On photo booth software.
I love it.
Oh.
All right, we'll add that to the list.
Okay, sounds good.
But for now, we're going to take a quick break,
Okay.
and we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Okay. So we're back, and we're trying to choose between the RX-1 and the 620A. Like, how do we actually choose?
It's all about volume. So RX-1, good for mid-volume, like you said, birthdays, smaller weddings, anything where you're not printing like nonstop.
Gotcha.
But if you're a professional and you are printing nonstop,
yeah,
then you're going to want to go with the 620A.
Okay, so it's basically like, are you printing for like 3 hours straight or like 8 hours straight?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how hardcore are you?
Okay, got it. And what about the cost of ink and paper for these?
That's important too, and this is something where that DS40 we were talking about actually has an advantage.
Really? How so?
Because its media is still made in the U.S.
Oh, interesting.
So you don't have to worry about like global shipping delays.
That's a really good point.
And price fluctuations and all that.
Yeah, like who knows what's going to happen with the global supply chain.
So yeah, you might be able to save some money in the long run if you go with the DS40.
Yeah, potentially.
Interesting.
But it all comes down to like what your priorities are.
That's true.
And speaking of priorities, I think there's one more thing we should touch on before we wrap up.
Yeah, what's that?
Software.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about that.
Like you can have the best printer in the world, but if you have crappy software,
your photo booth's going to suck.
it's not going to matter.
So what are some good software options?
Some popular ones are Darkroom Booth,
Okay.
DSLR Booth, and of course Spark Booth.
Spark Booth, yeah.
But really it depends on like what features you're looking for and what your budget is.
So it's another deep dive.
And another deep dive.
We're going to have to do a whole episode just on photo booth software.
Maybe we should.
I think we should.
Okay, I'm in.
All right, so that's photo booth printers in a nutshell.
There you go.
If you're looking for a great all-around printer,
Yep.
DNP is a good place to start.
Can't go wrong with DNT.
If you want to go on a treasure hunt for a unicorn printer,
Good luck.
track down a Mitsubishi DS40.
And let us know if you find one.
Yes, let us know how it goes.
Yeah, we want to know.
But yeah, hopefully this deep dive is giving you some food for thought.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe even inspired you to start your own photo booth business.
Or at least up your photo booth game for your next party.
There you go.
That's right.
All right, well, that's it for this deep dive.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
We'll see you next time.